We're back to Neil Haley's show, and it's my celebrity segment. I'm first excited to welcome my co-host, Paul Hollis, author of the Hollowman Series. Paul, thanks for stopping by, man. I know you're excited about our guest.
Appreciate you being here. Thank you. Yeah, I am absolutely enthralled with this. This
Yeah,
is
it's a great
amazing.
guest for sure. So Julie Rogers Pomilia is our
Yes.
guest, and she's the granddaughter of Roy Rogers. And I appreciate you coming on. And it's got to be amazing. When did you find out about your grandfather's legacy? When did you first learn about it?
Well, when you grow up, whatever you grow up with is normal to you. And so I just figured when I was little that everybody's grandfather had a TV show. And that's just what he did. And we watched it with him sometimes. And he'd be on the floor with us and go get him, Roy, go get him. Yeah, Grandpa, get him. And it was just very normal. When I was in second grade, those weekly readers, scholastic readers that we used to get, well, we still get them at school. Grandpa showed up on the cover of that. And my teacher called me up to the front of the room and whispered, "Do you know who this is?" And I thought, yeah, that's my grandfather. And I didn't really understand why she was making a big deal about it. And so she did, and we talked about him. And it was starting then that I started to get the feeling like maybe my grandparents are a little bit different than others, or our family is a little bit different. And I had a lot of questions for my parents that day. So that was just the small beginning, but they never made an issue of anything they did. They didn't act as if they were somebody special. They treated everyone the same. They were very accessible, and they were just the same on screen as they were off screen. So yeah, I was little, but it kind of grew. And no one ever told me though that she wrote Happy Trails. So, I didn't get told a lot of things. I just was around and kind of picked it up. But there's actually more people outside my family that know more details about my family than I do, than any of us do.
Wow.
Which is
Did
weird.
Did you ever think of show business because of?
I did early on. I wanted to be in back of the camera, somehow in production. But my dad saw the tough side of it, and they really discouraged me from that. So I went into, since most of my family was either in film or teaching, I went into teaching. So here I am, third grade.
Now, and go figure that teaching, again, performance. I was a former pro wrestler, became a teacher. So I understand as a professional wrestler, then when I went and said, okay, teaching is performing. Teaching is performing each and every day, and it's the biggest challenging thing because every day you have to have an Oscar-winning performance to have a good class.
Exactly. And you have to grab your audience attention. And if you don't have their attention, they're not learning. So it's very challenging, and I've been doing it for over 30 years. So yeah, in a way I did go into performing.
Yeah, it's definitely a performance, and it's such a thing. Paul, do you have a question?
No, I'm just amazed at the story here. I watched Roy Rogers and Dale Evans when I was a kid, always on TV once a week, and you know what? I never saw him lose his hat, not even in a fight or anything. It was great. Yeah.
Yeah. And they didn't shoot the guy; they shot the gun out of his hand or whatever.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah. That's funny. Yeah, it's an interesting time that we live in, because if you're under the age of, I don't know, 60 maybe, a lot of people don't know who they are, but they're very relevant for today because of the morals and the values that they taught that we're kind of missing here and there now. There's gaps. And also because of they changed the landscape of how people view special needs children, because they had one and they were proud of her and brought her out. But back then they used to put them in institutions. So they changed that, and they started noticing when they'd go to rodeos, all of a sudden, since they started taking their little Robin daughter out, they'd see a lot of families in the audience with special needs kids. So yeah, that was a very important time. He set aside all of the front 2 rows around the arena in Madison Square Garden for only families that had children, and then children with special needs and Down syndrome, because their daughter was Down syndrome.
Oh, I didn't know that. So my question to you, why did you write the book?
I wrote the book for my sons. I had no intention of publishing it at all. I was going to go to Kinko's. It was going to be one of those, quirky little family gifts, where this is a little bit of your posterity, my posterity passed on to them, family history. And the more I went to Western festivals and I would kind of chat with people about it, they say, no, you need to publish this. I'd buy it. I want to read it. And, there are stories that grandchildren can tell that are different than all the other historians and all the other books that are written on Roy and Dale. It's a very personal book, and it has to do with just my relationship with them and the things that happen. And at first I thought, well, I don't have much to say. Well, then I just wrote down one little story, and then I wrote another little story, and pretty soon I had 33 little stories that are just very short, 3 to 4 pages long. So it's a very easy read book, and it's a feel-good book. Because I had a magical upbringing. I mean, I really did. I'm so grateful for it. It was the best. So I just wanted to share that. So
That's tremendous for sure. And what did you learn from writing this book?
You know what? I learned that moments that you don't think are that important, you look back on, and those are the moments you want to remember. And so it made me more present in my daily life now to appreciate what's happening now with my kids and my grandkids, because those times back then were amazing. And I appreciate my grandparents so much more because they spent lots of time with us. I mean, to go to birthday parties and school plays and recitals and all kinds of stuff. And yet look at how busy they were. They didn't have the time, but they made the time for us. So I always had a sense that I was important to them. And they made everybody feel like that, really, which was quite amazing. And they were just the best. I was so close to, especially Grandma. We'd talk about everything. Grandpa was a little bit harder to know. He was quiet and shy. But we had some really good times, me and him together, going to the swap meet together or going hunting, things like that. And I tell all about that in my book. And I have a lot of pictures, which my husband likes because he doesn't like to read. He likes those coffee table books where there's a lot of pictures. So there's a lot of pictures that haven't been seen before.
How long did it take you to write the book?
Well, it took me since COVID, but only because I kept putting it down and picking it back up and putting it down. And then when I finally got serious about it, it was just a few months.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's fantastic stuff for sure. Paul, do you have any other question?
No, I don't. I'm fascinated.
I never aspired to be an author, and here I am.
Yeah, for sure.
It would be, if you like Roy and Dale and you like feel good type stuff and family and all that, reminiscing, it's an easy read and it's a fun read, I think.
And that's the thing. It's a fun read. And how big of a fan base do they have? Tell us.
They still do have a big fan base, but they are, mainly older people. And so people were concerned about me saying, oh, but you're going to write it and then there won't be an audience because, the younger people don't know. And it's like, I don't care. I'm writing it kind of for myself and for my family. And if they sell, that's all the better. And if other people are interested, that's all the better. I know the older people, it may get some younger people, because even if you don't know Roy and Dale, it's still interesting.
Yeah, it is. And so do you think, have they ever syndicated the show after that, or are people still watching it?
Oh yeah, it's on RFD TV. It's on not Nick at Night, but it's on a couple of those channels, and they're always playing the Roy Rogers Show along with Gunsmoke and Bonanza and all that.
There's probably a fan base of not just older people to watch the show.
There are, and also, see, me being from California's kind of a tough crowd. They're not really into cowboys and westerns. No. So I haven't seen a lot of that growing up because I've lived in California all my life. We're in Lake Tahoe now in Nevada, but I think in the middle America, there's a lot of fans that are younger. So I really shouldn't say people below 60 don't know him, because there are fans in the middle America that do know who Roy and Dale are.
That's a big market, but I know you're doing this book because of that, but it's going to live on. So remember, think about that book, you can be doing tours forever. not just because the
Yeah,
book
and you
is
can
out.
go to a restaurant and order a Roy Rogers drink too. So, you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
my daughter-in-law didn't know who he was, but her favorite drink to go out when she was in high school was a Roy Rogers. She's like, "That's your grandpa." So
That's crazy.
she was excited about that.
Okay, best place people can find information on you and buy your book. Where can they go?
It's on Amazon right now for pre-order. They haven't gotten the picture up yet, but Barnes and Noble is also up, and the picture of the book is on, and also on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. They have like a synopsis of the book, about the author, about, you know, it's available. And on the 17th of this month, it's going to be official, so they'll have it up. You can pre-order now, but they'll have it up to order.
And how are you doing? You pushing those pre-orders, even though you said this is not important to you? Is
Actually, I am. I mean, there's a lot of people. I'm on Facebook, and so a lot of people on Facebook have gone to it and pre-ordered. I'm, you know,
no, you're gonna
pleased.
blow. You're gonna be surprised. This is gonna live on forever. So hopefully you can give this to the next generation and next generation after that. So it's fantastic you wrote this book. I tell
I
you.
hope so. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
yeah, absolutely. And as a teacher, you just got to go out there and just talk about it and have them always in your trunk. Here's the recommendation. Always have
Yep.
books in the trunk, because
Yep.
you're a living icon. If you came to, let's say, Dallas, well, I'm in Dallas now, I'm not in Pittsburgh anymore.
Uh-huh.
You would be loved beyond belief. You could probably do 100 signings at different places in the country that truly were still, you know.
Well, and a lot
authentic.
of people even know Happy Trails. You know,
Yeah.
that's, even if they don't know Roy and Dale, they use Happy Trails,
I
you know,
appreciate it.
a lot. Yeah.
We appreciate you taking the time. You're
Thank you
listening,
for having
watching.
me.
You're welcome. You're
It's been
listening,
very
watching the
fun.
Haley Show. We'll be back in just a moment.